I just don't even know how to help you because every single time we sit like this, I say, sit how it's comfortable for you. So I just truly mean that. I truly mean that. It's really hard when you've got somebody in front of you showing you what to do and they're sitting one way. It's hard for our brain to sit a different way, but truly, in fact, here. Okay, so sit in whatever way is comfortable for you, and we're gonna breathe. Lifting up our spine, shoulders relax. Let's take a big breath in through your nose if you can. And out your nose. Let's tune into our breath while we're here. Just noticing the way our breath feels as it comes into our body, the coolness moving in through our nose, the warmth as it moves into our lungs. Noticing perhaps your belly expanding as you breathe in. Maybe your belly contracting as you breathe out. And notice the subtlety in your breath, the subtlety in your body as you breathe. For me, I always feel a release of tension when I breathe out. Maybe you'll find that too. My shoulders always soften a little bit. My mind becomes a little bit easier whenever I consciously breathe out. Allow that breathing in to just fill you up. Imagine it nourishing you. And breathing out, getting rid of what you don't need. Maybe allowing your mind to come up with whatever it was or is that you're holding on to but isn't serving you. Let it go as you breathe out. And let's move our arms a little bit as we breathe in. Bring our arms wide and up overhead, reaching up tall. Touch the sky. Exhale, turn your palms out and just float the arms down slowly. We're going to do this simple movement a couple more times. And of course, if you have any issues, if this sort of movement hurts your neck or anything, then just only come like halfway up. While we're moving through this, I want you to think to yourself why you've signed up for this class right now. Why you made the journey out. And we're going to let that kind of drive us today, be our intention. For me, I chose to teach in person this term. It was very much my choice. And this is one of few exercise classes, very few exercise classes that are in person right now. Let's do one more and end with a twist. Inhale up. And we're going to exhale, twisting gently to the right. Keep your spine tall. Take a couple breaths there. Relax your shoulders. Anyways, and the reason why it was really important to me to teach this class in person was exactly the things we've been talking about, that isolation. I wanted to offer something for you gals who might be kind of facing that isolation. I missed you guys tremendously. And let's inhale, come on back forward and arms up, and we'll exhale it to the other side. And so when I was offered the opportunity to teach in person again, I really jumped on that. Very happy to be here. So for me, my intention is going to be just the togetherness, the community, My yoga chicks. One more breath. With an inhale, come on back, arms reach up. Really reach, lengthening through the spine. And then with an exhale, arms float down to your sides. Let's bring our legs forward out in front of us. Kind of move them out a little bit. And then we're going to just flex our feet. I've got at least 2 people who haven't done yoga since last time we were together. I've got somebody else with ankle recovery. So let's just simply point the toes. Right? Let them rest there in a moment, or for a moment. One more breath. And then we're going to flex the feet, toes pointed toward the body. And relax. Excellent. Let's move this into a staff pose, just bringing hands down to the side, palms flat, chest is open, spine is tall, shoulders relaxed away from the ears. If you're feeling particularly tight back here, bend your knees a little bit to allow yourself to be taller. And we're going to just look straight forward. Full breaths here. You know, an option for the masks too, of things like the glasses or the breathing, sometimes just bringing it just below our nose, still keep covering our mouth, helps protect a little bit and also helps breathe a little bit. So that's an option with the masks too. And let's go ahead and soften that a little bit. Move our feet into butterfly if we can, see what that feels like. Wrapping hands around the feet, pulling the ribs up out of the tummy. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, see if those inner thighs can relax a little bit. One more breath here. And go ahead and release. Let's bring our knees together and up, feet flat. We're going to see what a little baby boat will feel like this morning. Yeah, just a little one. We're not going to go for much. Let's bring our hands to our thighs, to the back of our thighs. Lift the chest up, draw your belly button in towards your spine, lean back slightly. Just lift your feet up off the ground, kind of falling back slightly on into your upper tailbone area. Good. Take a breath here. Continuing to hold the legs, straighten the legs up. Bend the knees again. And bring the feet down, hands wrap around the shins, and then round the spine, drop the head down. How did that feel going into that little boat? Was that a reminder that we have abdominal muscles? For me, it was a reminder that I have a psoas muscle. I felt that. Hip. All right, let's come back up. We're actually going to do that one more time. So hands behind the thighs. Okay. Engage the core. This time we're going to release the arms. And maybe straighten the legs. And let's come back up. Feet come down, hands around the shin, round the spine. Excellent. Let's swing our legs over to come to hands and knees. Now, for those of us who haven't been practicing yoga for a while, just a reminder that it might take a little bit of you getting used to being on our wrists again or being on our knees again. That kind of tends to fall out pretty quickly when we don't do yoga regularly. But likewise, the memory of it not hurting comes back pretty quickly too. So let's align the wrist directly underneath the shoulders, knees directly underneath the hips, fingers spread wide and facing forward. And we're actually, to start here, we're just going to shift our weight forward and back to get our wrists and knees kind of comfortable. So shifting weight forward, shifting weight back. Do you feel that in your arms when we do that? Yeah. Okay, forward, stretching the forearms, and back. Let's do one more like that. Shifting forward. And this time we're going to shift back into a child's pose, lowering the seat down towards the heels, head down towards the mat. Take a couple of breaths there in child's pose. And we're going to do this a couple more times with a flow. So we're going to take an inhale now and come up to our hands and knees, but lean forward. And then on the exhale, we're going to come back to child's pose. And on an inhale, come back up, lean it forward. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale up forward. Exhale, child's. Inhale, come to the hands and knees. Okay. So guys, the next step, and Colleen, I'm not 100% sure how this will translate for you. I want to go into a screaming toes pose, and I want to go into the same, rather than holding it, I want to go into the same kind of flow, okay? So screaming toes, Colleen, is toes curled under, then we kind of spread our toes wide if we can, and then press them into the mat, and then we bring our seat onto our heels. How does that feel on your ankle? Does that feel stable? Okay. All right. How does that feel, gals? That's a reminder you haven't done yoga for a while, huh? So we're going to try to do the same thing, but we're going to see, this is going to help engage the core as well. We're going to see if we can land real steady on our hands. So hands forward, we're going to come off, lean forward, come back, screaming toes. And forward. So a little bit of core engagement there so that we're not slamming down, right? It's a nice subtle movement. Forward. One more time. Screaming toes. And forward. Good. Go ahead and relax your toes. Release your feet. Maybe tap them out if you need to. Excellent. And from here, let's take a couple of cats and cows. Are our knees okay? Are our knees feeling okay? Okay. All right. So with an inhale to cow pose, sorry, kind of looking up, elongating the spine. And then an exhale to cat pose, rounding the spine, dropping the chin. And I'm going to let you three just move through it at your own pace. Inhaling into cow, exhaling to cat. Take as long as you'd like to in your respective postures there. Sometimes it feels really good to linger in cat or cow or both. So take your time. Just do one more cat and one more cow. And then bring it to a tabletop. All right, let's lift our wrists up and just move them about a little bit. We're going to go into a downward facing dog after this. And so I wanted to give a little break on the wrists before we do. Something I developed for fun over this summer is tennis elbow. And it is a really painful thing that interrupts your life. But I think it's been fine since I started teaching again on Monday, and I think it's been fine. So we all have our little things. Let's come back to hands and knees. And we're going to curl the toes under. And again, Colleen, especially be real careful with your downward facing dog. Raising the hips up. Once you're up, just maybe kind of pedaling your legs out if that feels good. We're only going to stay here for about 3 breaths because it has been a while since we've been doing our yoga. So when you're ready to, go ahead and walk your feet up to your hands, coming into a forward fold. And let's just kind of get to know ourselves again in a forward fold. Let your head relax. Notice what this feels like in your body. Noticing that posterior stretch. And then we're just going to slowly round our spine coming up. 1 vertebrae at a time. Nice and slow. Let's move our shoulders a little bit. All right. And then shoulders relax. We're going to bring our right ear to our right shoulder, or down toward our right shoulder. Take a breath or 2 in. In and out, not just in. And then we'll go to the other side. And come back to center. Let's bring our feet together. Looking down at your feet, see about lifting your toes up, spreading your toes wide, and then floating them down to your mat. We're going to go into a mountain pose with arms overhead. So I'm choosing our feet together in this mountain pose just for something a little bit different. It helps to engage the legs a little bit stronger than a hip wide mountain pose. So from this position, let's take a moment to find balance throughout our feet. Notice if your weight is heavier in the ball of the foot, in the heels, in the toes, in the outer, inner of the feet. And if you find that it is heavier in one spot or another, kind of adjust that so that the balance is throughout the whole thing. All right, and we'll lift up our kneecaps by contracting the thighs, squeezing the thighs, including the inner thighs, squeezing the inner thighs in towards each other. See if you can lift up through the pelvic floor, squeezing those Kegel muscles, navel's drawn in, heart is open. We'll bring the shoulders up towards the ears, draw them back, relax them down. Arms to your side, kind of rigid. Let's face the palms forward and fingers wide as well. So to make things really active here in this posture. Looking straight out ahead of you, chin is parallel to the ground, but we're growing tall from the top of our head. So ideally from the bottom of the feet all the way up to the top of the head, this is an active posture because it's fully engaged. I'm going to even engage the face underneath those pretty masks of yours. Put on a pretty smile. Good. It helps. Smile in our mountain pose. With an inhale, bring your arms up overhead, palms facing toward each other. Hold here. We're still contracted and strong and active in the body. Keeping the heart open, chest is still open. Shoulders relaxed away from the ears, even with the arms up overhead. Take a couple breaths. One more breath. Go ahead and bring the arms down. Round the shoulders a little bit. Release any tension that was found as the arms were up. And then we're going to go into the same movement only with our hands bound. So we're going to intertwine our fingers in front of us. And then as we raise them up, we're going to flip them up. So the palms of the hands are facing upward. Lengthen your neck. Don't let your neck crunch. Keep reaching. That one's a little harder than just simply reaching up. One more breath. And let the arms come down. And again, roll the shoulders. Did that feel okay on your neck, Karen? That's not a trigger for the neck?
No.
Okay. This kind of moving side to side. Oh, that'll be fun in things like triangles, trying to turn.
Triangle.
Well, maybe being back into yoga and the movement will be the answer that you need. Did this happened before we ended yoga? Or was it after we ended yoga?
No, it was starting before we ended, but it just got worse over time. But
let's take a wide-legged forward fold. So from the top of your mat, we're gonna take, well, you're at the back of your mat, which is fine. You're gonna take a step forward. You ladies are gonna take a step back. Both feet parallel to each other. Excellent. And let's turn our toes out just a little bit. Good. Place your hands on your thighs, the top of your thighs. We're going to begin by sending our tailbone back. So send your tailbone back as if you're trying to point it at something. Send your chest forward and then keep sending your chest forward and down while your tailbone's pointing back. Hands sliding down the legs. And just coming to a place that feels good in your body, not a place that feels overstretched. Just a place that feels good. I'm not expecting you to bring your hands all the way to your ankles, though you're welcome to if that is what feels good. And then I am going to ask you to relax your head down if that feels good. We're trying to Maintain again a little bit of engagement. That's why I had our hands on our legs rather than on the ground. Keeps the body engaged a little bit. And then we're going to come up kind of the same way. Ending with the hands there at the thighs still. And we're going to move into a half or a modified goddess pose. So with the feet turned out a little bit still, bending the knees, hands stay at the thighs. Bend the elbows as well, kind of almost pressing the palms into the thighs. Hold there for a couple breaths, getting a stretch into those inner thighs. Opening the hips. One more breath. And straightening through the legs. Good. Oh, you can turn the feet parallel again, so both feet are facing forward. And we're going to do basically the same thing. This is stretching different muscles than we did when the feet were out. You'll feel it. So hands at your thighs, tailbone back, chest forward, coming into your forward fold. Do you feel the difference there from when the feet were pointed out? Pretty big difference, huh? This one, if you would like to, you can go ahead and bring your hands to the floor. If you want, you don't have to. Okay. And if it's feeling pretty comfortable and easy for you, you could even go deeper and bring your forearms to the floor. Relaxing your head down. One more breath here. And then bring your hands back to your legs. Slowly work your way up. And if you feel lightheaded when you come up, close your eyes until it passes. Now, keeping our feet facing forward, we're going to walk our feet in just about 2 foot lengths. So kind of turn in and in until you're about 2. Good. Let's do, actually, I'm thinking one more in. Good. So we want just a little bit wider than our hips, but not terribly wide. Okay. Hands at the top of the thighs. And we're going to do squats here, not deep ones, just squats. So we're going to drop our bottom back as we bend our knees. Chest is going to come forward a bit. Good. So kind of like a goddess, but definitely a modification or a variation of goddess. Good. And we're going to go a little bit of a flow here. So inhale up, straighten the legs, and exhale down. If you think it would be okay for you, we're going to inhale up into a little baby back bend, sending the pelvis forward and just a little bit of a back bend. Good. And then squat. Good. And inhale, come up. Little baby back bend if it feels safe for you. And exhale, squat. Let's do 2 more. Inhale up, back bend, opening the heart, and exhale, squat. One last time. Inhale up, little baby back bend, and then we're just going to exhale to standing. Good. Walk your feet in together. Come to the top of the mat. Before we come back down to the ground,
We're just going to do a little bit of balance. It's funny because this clock is not working and I wasn't looking at, I was only looking at the second hand and I'm like, how is it that only 20 minutes has passed? No, in reality, much more time has passed. So we're going to do just a little bit of balance, then we're going to come back to the ground and cool down. With that said, being that the temperature in here is cool, I'm going to recommend, if you would like, to bring a blanket from home for when we're in Shavasana. You can cover up, be nice and warm and cozy. I don't think we have blankets here, and even if we did, it's not something that we could really sanitize enough. So I'm going to recommend bring a blanket. Okay, let's begin by just not taking ourselves real seriously with this balance. We're just going to simply bring our left knee into the air. Don't even think about it. Just bring the left knee into the air. Okay, and down. Good, good. Good job, Colleen. I know that is, well, I know that is your ankle, that the right ankle is the, as always, you guys, you're free to go to the wall or to the table. We have these beautiful new tables that are going to be, they're accessible to us. They're on wheels and they're really lightweight, but it doesn't matter because we'll never have to carry them. Without thinking, other side, just do it. And back down. Oh, you guys, we haven't been doing yoga for a while, have we? All right, good to know. Balance is going to be a priority this term, yeah? Does that sound okay? I think balance is a really good idea because then physical balance goes right along with the mental, emotional, everything. So we're going to work on balance a little bit. Let's bring our hands to our waist. Going to do a little bit more. This time out to the side. So Colleen, be really careful with balancing on your right foot. I don't know what kind of physical therapy you've been doing. I assume it has included some balance.
I only went to a couple of sessions. I've just been doing a lot of walking.
Okay. Okay. So balance will be good, but don't let yourself get too tired. Okay. So we're going to just bring the left leg out to the left. Hold it just as long as it's comfortable or until I say no. But if it's like, oh yeah, I'm done, then stop the hold. One more breath if we can. And back in. Very good. We'll go to the other side. And back in. Very good. We're going to do the same thing, only with foot forward. Keeping the legs straight, left foot forward, kind of pointing the toes, just raising it a little bit. We're not trying to work that psoas that I noticed earlier, but just working on the balance. And back in. To the other side. Back in. Good job. One more time. Let's go ahead and bring our arms down for this one. Straight arms and then out a little bit, but not all the way wide. Okay. Left leg's coming back, pointing the toes. Not into a full fold or anything, just kind of lifting gently as we did in the other directions. Beautiful. Bring it in. Other side. Back in. Very good. Shake it out a little bit. Let's come back down to the ground. I'm not going to tell us how we need to get there. We're not going to do a squat or anything. So just come back to the ground however you would like to. In fact, let's let me check the time again. I'll have to get that clock fixed. Oh yeah, let's come all the way to our back. We're gonna bring both knees to the chest for Apanasana, or knees to chest. Good, wrapping hands around the shin. Maybe gentle rock side to side, or maybe stillness, whatever's right for you. And from here, we're going to take a very gentle little knee down twist. So bringing both knees to the floor on the right, or toward the floor on the right. Arms wide, maybe looking out toward your left hand. Just gentle, yeah, don't overdo it. Good. Couple soothing breaths here. And then when you're ready to, with an inhale, bring it back up to center. Exhale it to the other side. Notice where you're holding tension in your twist. If it's in your face, in your shoulders, your hips, your knees. And then with an inhale, come back to center. One more little knees to chest hug. And then when you're ready, allow yourself to go into a Shavasana posture. Unless there is another posture that your body is craving, go ahead and take that. We'll just quietly rest here for the next couple of minutes.
And let's gently begin bringing our awareness to our breath. Just noticing the breath again, coming in, moving out. Acknowledge how it feels as it moves in, how it feels as it moves out. Noticing the warmth and coolness of breath. And maybe returning your thoughts as to why you made it a priority to come to yoga at this time. Allowing that idea of service in whatever capacity it was, coming here was a service to you and to others. Allow that in your consciousness that it's a step towards taking care of us individually and us wholly. Perhaps allow some gratitude in for that choice that you made to be here. And for the surroundings and opportunity that it took to be here. And slowly begin moving your fingers, your toes. Slow and steady movements, just stretching gently. And when you're ready to move bigger, perhaps rolling yourself to your side for a few breaths, or if lying on your side is uncomfortable, just coming on up to seated. But wherever you're at, taking a few nurturing breaths. As you're kind of bringing your practice to a close today, maybe begin speaking to yourself any words that you would like to bring in to allow perhaps an affirmation or a prayer that allows you to comfortably bring in your practice to a close. And then I am going to just finish out so that I can turn off the Zoom camera, and then we can finish out here in the classroom too. So I'm going to end with namaste.